Moving on now to some good economic news out of Europe. After 18 months of recession, the Eurozone posted positive growth recently after unexpectedly strong consumer spending in its core economies.
But as VOA reporter Henry Ridgwell in London told On Assignment's Philip Alexiou, analysts warned that while any good economic news in the Eurozone is welcome, this is not the end of the euro crisis.
After 6 consecutive quarters of negative growth, the Eurozone is finally out of recession. The growth figure of 0.3% in the second quarter hardly signals a boom, but it is a milestone, says DARAGH MAHER, foreign exchange strategist at HSBC in London.
The very fact that we can talk about growth, politicians can talk about growth, markets can talk about growth again, it's a significant psychological development.
Henry Ridgwell in London, this report that's sort of a mixed bag there.
That's right. It really is a patchy picture across Europe. Good news, but still bad news on the unemployment front. The growth was really coming from the big core economies of Europe, Germany and France. Yet still the peripheral countries in the south, countries like Spain and Italy, are still struggling. In fact, the economy in Spain shrank even further, 0.1%. The economy in Italy shrank by 0.2%. So that growth in the core economy is really masking the problems that still linger and seem very difficult to get rid of in those debt-ridden southern countries.
And in Greece, ground zero of Europe's crisis, over the past 4 years, the economy shrank by 4.6%. That's a slight improvement on the previous 3 months, but indicative of the euro's ongoing problems, says Joe Rundle, head of trading at ETX Capital, a London-based financial services firm.
So you've got this two-tier Europe and Germany really controlling the austerity while it's booming. So I think it's certainly not the Eurozone problems being solved.
It takes a long time for economic growth to translate into jobs. So if you're an unemployed person in any of those peripheral economies, despite the fact that in your newspaper headline you might read that the economy is just about growing again, there's going to be little hope for several months yet that there's going to be a plethora of jobs turning up for you to apply for.
That appears to be recognised in Brussels. Chantal Hughes is a spokeswoman for the European Commission.
This slightly more positive data is welcome, but there is no room for any complacency. Self-congratulatory statements suggesting that the crisis is over are definitely not for today.
And if it might be good news for politicians, as one analyst said in your report, that doesn't necessarily translate that they would get the support from the people. What are you hearing?
That's right. It's difficult to judge how this economic data might input on elections. Of course, we've got the German election coming up very soon, where Chancellor Angela Merkel is ahead in the polls. But across the whole continent, there's a feeling that the austerity measures simply went too far, especially among those, of course, who are struggling for a job. We've seen hundreds of thousands of public sector jobs cut across the continent. So that contributing to the many thousands of jobless people. The jobless figure in Spain, for example, just over a quarter of people unemployed. In Italy, 40% of young people don't have a job. So for young graduates emerging, for school leavers, it's just still a very, very difficult picture. For everybody who's facing those sorts of problems, pay cuts, joblessness, there are few options really. Either take to the streets, protest, try and do something through the ballot box, or emigrate and try and find a job elsewhere. But of course, you've got another big cohort of the population who approve of the policies, who are fearful of building up government debt, who think we do need the austerity policies, who've managed to keep their jobs, maybe even prosper in the economic downturn. And I guess that's the nature of a democracy. You have the haves, the have-nots, the ones who have jobs, those who don't. And that's why we've seen such a volatile political scene across Europe over the past few years. So very much turmoil in Europe, and I don't think these latest growth figures, as welcome as they are going to turn down the heat much in that sense.
All right, and our thanks again to reporter Henry Ridgwell in London. Now, Imran, the results of a recent survey are not too great for Europe either, with employers there saying they are less likely to hire in the last quarter of 2013 than they were earlier in the year.